Hello, everyone. Mr. Vessel here, and I wanted to touch base with everyone. It is Friday morning, May 8th, and we have 2 weeks until the AP Stats exam. And I wanted to go over a couple of things that I think are really important based on the survey information I got. I think the first one that was really important is that a lot of people didn't know where to get their AP exam. So when you're on the classroom, please check this PDF out. It's actually really quick to check out. You're going to need your 8-character AP ID. I can get this for you if you can't find it, but you're going to need to log into my AP anyway. So I'd suggest going there to find it. It's going to be a compilation of letters and numbers. Get that ahead of time. You will also get an email with this on May 20th. So you can also get it then. Still, get in there now. Just get it. And know that number ahead of time. It's just going to help you feel a little bit better. Another thing, really, really important to do. Make sure that you're ready to test. And this right here, the cb.org/AP demo, go and do this. I know some teachers don't want to suggest how to do this exam. I am actually going to suggest that you handwrite your exam. If you want to, here's what I guess is important. When you do handwrite it, you're going to need your phone to take a picture of it. So when you do this practice, just use your phone. And how I envision this will work out better for most is that you'll be able to have your laptop up, if you have one, or a computer up to do other stuff. So, you could have like a T table up there, a Z table if you need one. Maybe your calculator is on your laptop. That can be something that the laptop is used for resources, for notes, for calculations. Use the phone to submit your exam and do the practice. It's actually extremely easy to do. Highly recommend it, and make sure that you know how to submit your photos. A couple things on those. You're going to need to write that 8-digit ID along with your initials, along with the page number. After doing a couple of practice exams, I think you're going to probably need 4 to 6 pieces of paper to do this whole exam. And, ahead of time, write your ID and your initials and your page number on each of these things, and just get them ready before you start. There's a couple of other things in here that I think are just unnecessary for you. There's some about the AP Music, AP World, or World Language exams and stuff. You don't need to worry about that. But highly recommend just doing the practice, making sure everything's going to be working okay. And I guess I would say this too, like if you really feel strongly about typing it, let me know. I can help you out with that. There is maybe a way you could type equations and just make sure everything looks okay when you're doing the typed version. But I really think with statistics, you're going to want to handwrite everything. So practice that ahead of time. The second thing that I wanted to share, I started making some predictions about what I think is going to be on this test after the couple practice exams, and just kind of thinking about this more. So here's a list. One, and I feel good about a lot of these predictions actually, but there's going to be a problem that has a confidence interval, and then the other problem will have something about hypothesis testing. And there's not, I don't believe there's going to be a full confidence interval or hypothesis test question, like those ones that say construct and interpret a confidence interval, or do the data provide significant evidence. Those questions I doubt are going to be there. What I think it's going to be is pieces. So it's going to be parts of like maybe interpreting a p-value, or interpreting a confidence interval, checking your conditions, knowing why stuff's important. Maybe it's just about margin of error, something like that. There's just not enough time to do the full hypothesis and confidence interval along with all these other goals that they have to ask you about. So expect to see pieces. I also don't think you're going to have to calculate a t-score or a z-score and look that number up and find a p-value. I just don't think that that's going to be part of this test. And again, I could be off on that, but my predictions based on these 2 practice exams that I've seen, and just the fact that if they need to ask you about all these different goals, they need to be able to ask you what you know, and it's not going to be as much stuff about calculating. It's going to be more about interpreting and that type of task. So expect to be able to interpret stuff. I think one problem is going to have 2 variables, and the other problem is going to have 1 variable. So like in the categorical sense, maybe you've got like the categorical data of like a placebo versus a new drug. Those are categorical. They're like yes or no's. And it could be a bivariate one too, where you have like an X variable and a Y variable, and There's going to be a problem though that has two variables, and then the other problem is going to be a one variable situation. So kind of moving forward with that, one problem is going to be categorical, the other is going to be numeric. And one problem is going to be about proportions, the other problem is going to be about means. There's going to be something about surveys and experiments, and it's possible you might see both. I don't think it's going to be describing that full process of how you're going to collect the data, but I think it's going to be stuff that you can quickly identify. Is it an experiment? Is it observational? What would be the benefit of stratifying? Like something like that is what you're going to be asked to do. It's not going to be doing a full process, much like doing a full confidence interval hypothesis test. It just takes up too much time, so it's going to be quicker, shorter pieces about collecting data. Probability. This is the hardest one for me to predict about because there's so many possibilities with probability. It might be a normal distribution calculation. Maybe it's conditional probabilities from a table, checking for independence. That was actually on both of these practice exams. Maybe it's a binomial situation. There's lots of different things that you could see with probability. So that one's tough to predict, but there's definitely going to be, and I'd actually be confident saying that I think it's going to be in both problems, a little bit of probability in both problems. It's just such a big concept. Maybe expected value, I think, might be a likely candidate. So probability is going to be there. It's a little tougher to predict. There's definitely going to be something about describing or comparing distributions. It could be lots of possibilities, though. It could be numeric, it could be categorical, it could be bivariate. So any of those are possibilities. And then just another quick list of other things that maybe aren't, all of these topics definitely won't be on the test, but there's really good chance that one or two of them will be. So just making sure that you're familiar with these again. Sampling distributions, that could be for X bar or p hat. You might have combining distributions. You got your errors, your power. Maybe it's a residual or correlation from the bivariate data. I wouldn't expect all those things at all, but wouldn't be surprised if there's one or two of those topics. And then my last prediction is I think that the scoring is going to be fairly similar to other AP exams. So, this is a very different kind of test. It's much shorter. There's no multiple choice, obviously. And typically what it is for that 4 or higher is around 50 to 55%. I actually still think it's going to be fairly close to that. Same with the 3s, 35 to 40%. That's a goal for a lot of people to get college credit. And I think it's going to be really similar to other scoring exams. I mean, there could be some variability, obviously. I don't have any inside information, but I just have a feeling that it's going to score pretty similarly to previous exams. And that 5 cutoff, I didn't write it down there, that 5 cutoff is typically 65 to 70%. You're not going to need to get 100% basically to pass this exam is the point. Expect to be able to get your college credit by doing similarly to all these practice problems that we've been working on. And that's it for my predictions. What I've got next is kind of what I want to spend the next couple of weeks doing, and it's a tentative timeline. I think this will work okay. And these problems are ones that you've maybe done before. But even if you've done them, I think doing them again will be a really helpful experience in the next 2 weeks. So I've tried to narrow it down. I got 15 problems here. I didn't want to do too many. I tried to make some problems that I think will be really good practicing for the exam. And obviously, if you want to do other ones, that's perfectly fine. I think old AP free response problems are the best way to practice. Here's what I've picked out and why. The first thing I wanted to point out, like these yellow ones, these are going to be from like early in the year. The describing data, it's got experimental design, it's got surveys, and it's just a little bit of each of those things. And you'll notice, like I think Wednesday, the 13th at 3 p.m. is going to work okay for us. One of my hesitations here is that next week is a big week for seniors taking AP exams. And I realize that everyone's got different schedules with all of those, but the 2 o'clock window for AP stats, or sorry, the 2 o'clock window for AP exams is kind of full in a lot of days. So I only wanted to do one day with the Google Meet with everyone. And if there's some other requests to maybe meet at other times, we could do something like that. But I wanted to do one day next week and then really hit more of them the week after. So the next coloring here, the green ones, these are all probability things. And I think Monday will work really well for that one. So that's what the plan is for right now, to do Monday the 18th at 3 p.m. to talk about probability stuff. And then the other two are hypothesis tests, confidence intervals, and some miscellaneous stuff here with some of these other questions too. So that's kind of what the plan is. We're gonna have less meetings next week just due to other AP exams going on, and then the following week there are way fewer that are going to impact our seniors until the stats exam on the 22nd. So this will be our schedule for the next couple of weeks, and obviously these are suggested problems. I think they're good ones, but if there's some other ones that you wanted to work on, or you feel really good about these and like some other ones, let me know, and I can find some other problems that we could work on together. I'm also planning on making videos for each of these. If you can't make these Google Meets, that you'll at least be able to get some solutions and hear about some of the tips and suggestions for these things. So that's what I wanted to talk with you about today. And good luck studying this week and next week. And make sure you're asking questions and just getting ready for 2 weeks from today. All right, thanks a bunch. Have a good one.